Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nastu Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nastiki. So today we are reading from Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation. In that we are reading Chapter 3, Pure Devotional Service, the Change in Heart. Text 1. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the intelligent man who is on the threshold of a death, so I have answered you. Text 2 to 7. One who desires to be absorbed in the impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence should worship the master of Veda, which is Lord Brahma, and one who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king Indra, and the one who desired good progeny should worship the great progenitor called the Prajapatis. One who desires good fortune should worship Durga Devi, the superintendent of the material world. One desiring to be powerful should worship fire, and one who aspires only after money should worship the Vasus. One should worship the Rudra incarnation of Lord Shiva if he wants to be a great hero. One who wants a large stock of grain should worship Aditi. One who desires to attain the heavenly planet should worship the sons of Aditi. One who desires a worldly kingdom should worship Vasudeva, and one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship Sadhya demigod. One who desires a long span of life should worship the demigod known as the Ashwini Kumaras, and a person desiring a strongly built body should worship the earth. One who desires stability in his post should worship the horizon and the earth combined. One who desires to be beautiful should worship the beautiful residents of Gandharva planets. And one who desires a good wife should worship the Apsaras and the Urvashi society girl and the Urvashi society girls of the heavenly kingdom. One who desires domination over others should worship Lord Brahma, the head of the universe. One who desires tangible fame should worship the personality of Godhead, and one who desires a good bank balance should worship the demigod Varuna. If one desires to be a greatly learned man, he should worship Lord Shiva, and if one desires a good marital relation, he should worship the chaste goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. Text 8. One should worship Lord Vishnu, his devotee, for spiritual advancement in knowledge and protection of heredity and advancement of a dynasty. One should worship various demigods. 9. One who desires domination over a kingdom or an empire should worship the Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons. And one who desires sense gratification should worship the moon. But one who desires nothing of material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 10. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desire or without any material desire or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of Godhead. Text 11. All the different kind of worshippers of multi-demigods can attain the highest perfectional benediction, which is a spontaneous attraction, unflinchingly fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by the association of pure devotee of the Lord. Text 12. Transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge relating in the complete suspension of the waves and whirlpools of material modes. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachment, and being transcendental, it is approved by authorities who could fail to be attracted. Text 13. Sonaka said, the son of Vyasadeva, Srila Sukdev Goswami, was a highly learned sage and was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaj Parikshit attain what did Maharaj Parikshit again inquire from him after hearing all that he had said? Text 14. O learned Sutta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us because we are all eager to hear. Besides, that topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You can pause
Text
here.
15. Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of the Pandavas,
Hare Krishna.
was from his very childhood a great devotee of Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity.
Kishore Prabhuji.
Text 16. Sukdev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva,
Hare Krishna,
was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. We can pause here, Prabhuji. We're only reading till 12 verses today. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Vamsi Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshva Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavatiruttamaśloke Bhaktir Naishtaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namah Pankajanabhaya Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Satarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be looking into chapter 3 titled Pure Devotional Service, Change and Heart. So Srila Sukadeva Goswami, so the theme of the first 12 verses mentioned in Subodhini by Sri Gauranga Krishna Prabhu is it provides a difference between demigod worship and worship of Supreme Lord via pure devotional service. So in this entire chapter, Srila Sukadeva Goswami and the parallel conversations between the sages and Sutta Goswami, they will be talking about what is actually pure devotional service. But before going into that, the speaker, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, is differentiating between demigod worshippers and then he will enter into pure devotional service. And what are the attributes of pure devotional service? So in the beginning, Srila Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning Maharaj Pariksit that you have inquired me about different parts of mukti, and I have also explained to you about bhakti, because the duty of an intelligent man who is on the threshold of death, you have asked intelligent questions, so I have tried to answer those. So now, Prabhupada writes in that purport, unless one inquires about his own self beyond the body and mind, all his activities in human life are total failures, right? Because human life is very rare. So we have to take opportunity of that. And Prabhupada writes, in spite of reading all the Vedic literatures, even though, say, for example, somebody takes up the Vedic literature, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad, Bhagavatam, hearing such scriptures, unless one is in touch with a spiritual master, he cannot realize the real nature of self, etc. We may have the Srimad Bhagavatam at home. We may have Bhagavad Gita at home. I may be studying every day. There will be some transformation. But the actual realization of these scriptures comes only when we are in touch with a realized Guru who will impart the actual purport of these Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita to the disciple. Prabhupada was an example of this. Right? When he went to the yatra of his spiritual master in Vrindavan, many of his God brothers, very few, except for very few, and Prabhupada himself, stayed to hear his Guru Maharaj talking and talking Harikatha. Everyone went for looking at the places in the yatra. And his Guru Maharaj noticed this. And he mentioned, this person, this Abhay Charan, has taste for hearing Harikatha. So whatever he writes, you have to print it. Right? So this is the main thing that we have to learn, is we have to hear from a self-realized Guru. And then the true purport of the actual Bhagavatam verse will be revealed to us. Until then, everything is locked. Prabhupada is mentioning that here. And he's also quoting Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is said that Lord Krishna, out of his costless mercy, prepared the Vedic literatures in the incarnation of Vyasadeva for reading by intelligent class of men in human society, which is almost totally forgetful of genuine relationship with Krishna. Even such an intelligent class of men may be forgetful in their relation with the Lord. The whole Bhakti Yoga process is therefore a revival of the lost relation. And that's why Prabhupada says, Manishtinam, that word is used in this verse, like Maharaj Pariksit must therefore take to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and fully engage himself in bhakti, in Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. of the holy name and pastimes of the Lord, which are all Harikatamrita. This action is especially recommended when one is preparing for death. Right? Maharaj Pariksit he's very fortunate to know that he has 7 days to live. But how many of us can say that we have 7 days to live? Right? We don't even know. So we are also preparing for death. So we should also follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Pariksit. And then in text 2 to 9, it describes about the demigod worshippers. Now, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, now here the activities of those who are not intelligent among men. So the first thing he mentioned, okay, you have already asked intelligent questions because you have asked what a dying man should do. But the problem is there are also people who are not so intelligent according to Sukadeva Goswami. But what is their mode of worship? So now he is going to, the path chosen by less intelligent men is demigod worship. So Sukadeva Goswami is talking about all the different types of devatas that people in different modes worship. Few examples, many are quoted in the verse itself, very straightforward, like absorption in impersonal Brahma Jyoti, Lord Brahma. Who's inclined to sex is Indra. Someone who's really want to be powerful worships Agnidev, right? And Lord Shiva, somebody who worships Lord Shiva, they want vast learning. Somebody wants good marital relationship, like good husband or wife, they worship Goddess Parvati, like that. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, all these kind of worshippers of different devatas, with all due respects to all the devatas, they are all direct representatives of Krishna. So we should never criticize them. We should try to understand in the line of Acharyas. So they explained those very nicely. Prabhupada is writing, there are different modes of worship for different persons because people are of different modes, Sattva, Tamas and Rajas. So according to their modes, there are different devatas. And as a conditioned soul, living in this material world, cannot be an expert in every type of enjoyable asset, right? All these assets are mentioned, desires are mentioned here. So everyone worships different devatas, but we cannot be expert in every desire, right? So anyone may want one desire, so they go to a particular devata. And Krishna also mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita, he gives the faith in the heart of that person to go and worship that devata. And because Krishna also resides in the heart of the devata, they combine together, and the conditioned soul worships the devata. This is all Krishna doing in the background. But Krishna is saying, why Sukadeva Goswami is saying less intelligent? It is not his statement. Because Krishna says that. Prabhupada writes in the purport, 720 he quotes, Kamai sasta kritajnana prapadyanti anya devata. Krishna mentions that a person is less intelligent because he doesn't know that by worshipping the devata, ultimately all the fruits go to Krishna only. Because Krishna is the one who is indirectly inspiring that person to worship a particular devata. But Prabhupada writes, the real problem of life in this material world is to solve the question of birth, death, old age and disease. No one wants to change his birthright. No one wants to meet death. No one wants to be old or invalid. No one wants diseases. But these problems are solved neither by the grace of any demigod or so-called advancement of material science. Even a devata cannot solve all these problems because they are also within the purview of this material world and they are also subjected to all these problems. So we have to go to a person who can solve all these problems. Prabhupada is saying in the purport. And so therefore, intelligent persons should try to avoid these aspirations or desires and seek instead the permanent life by returning home back to Godhead. Right? So we will see in the next few verses, are we really intelligent? Text 8 and 9 and 10, same theme. So one should worship Lord Vishnu or his devotee for spiritual advancement in knowledge, and for protection of hereditary and advancement of dynasty, one should worship the various demigods. So like Prabhupada is saying again, different classes of worshippers of different devatas may ultimately reach different planets of the devatas within this universe. But he reaches the spiritual planets in Brahmajyoti, achieves highest perfection. One who reaches Brahmajyoti or beyond the purview of Brahmajyoti, the Paravyoma, the spiritual Vaikunta planet, they only achieve highest perfection. Otherwise, Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Yanti Deva Pratan Devan Pitrin Yanti Prithuvritaha. He mentions that anyone who worships devatas go to the planets of devatas. Anyone who worships forefathers go to the planets of the forefathers. But anyone who worships me comes to me, Krishna mentions. And then again in 9, one who desires, again examples are given. One who desires a dominion over a kingdom or an empire should worship Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons. And one who desires sense gratification should worship Moon. But one who desires nothing of material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Prabhupada writes, for a liberated person, all the enjoyments listed above are considered to be absolutely useless. Because they know all these things are very temporary. So they are not captivated, Prabhupada writes, by different types of material enjoyment. And Prabhupada writes an interesting point. The leaders of nonsensical persons are still more nonsensical because they preach openly and foolishly that one can worship any form of demigod and get the same result. And Prabhupada is giving example why this is absolutely wrong. Even though it is not even mentioned anywhere in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada gives an analogy why it is not wrong. Say, suppose someone wants to go from one destination to another destination, like say from Bombay to Delhi, but he cannot purchase a ticket for Baroda. If the destination is Delhi, the ticket has to be to Delhi. I cannot say I'll purchase a ticket to Baroda and still reach from Bombay to Delhi. It is not possible. Prabhupada says this is foolish. And this worshipping process, directly worshipping Krishna, is called devotional service. And pure devotional service, Prabhupada says, means service to Lord without any tinge of material desires. I was hearing a class the other day, that person who was quoting Prabhupada, he was saying that Prabhupada says, even if we have a tinge of material desire in this material world, Krishna is so kind, he will give us one more chance to come back to this material world. Krishna is very thorough. Very thorough. He wants us to be inside out clean, and then he will allow us to go back home, back to Godhead. So the conclusion is that one must minimize the desires for material enjoyment, and for this one should worship Krishna. Only by worshipping Krishna we can minimize material desires. It is not the other way. It is not that I give up everything and then worship Krishna. No, that is not possible. Not possible. Because we are all conditioned souls, we cannot do that. Only by practicing bhakti, the detachment process starts. Right? Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chat Ahaitukam. Only by practicing bhakti, Vairagyam comes, detachment comes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give this detachment. By practicing bhakti to Mahaprabhu, detachment automatically comes. It is a byproduct. And in text 10, now, worship of the Supreme Lord, a person who has broader intelligence worships Krishna. Okay. What are the qualifications? This is very famous verse, Prabhupada quotes. Now, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, it doesn't matter whether a person is desireless, full of desires, or desirous of mukti. Akama, sarvakama, mokshakama. Akama means desireless, sarvakama means full of desires, and mokshakama means desire of liberation, like the jnanis. It doesn't matter. Still go to Krishna. Right? We have many examples, even within Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj, he was not able to sit on the lap of his father. So his mother said, his stepmother said, you have to go and take birth again and go and worship Vishnu, and then you will take birth in my womb, and then you will be able to sit on your father's lap. Right? Long story short, he went in search of Lord Vishnu for what? He wanted something greater than his father. He wanted a kingdom greater than his father and his great-grandfather. He still went to Lord Vishnu. Right? So Krishna doesn't see who is coming to him. He's happy to see somebody coming and surrendering to him. And Krishna knows how to purify every individual soul. Every individual soul is different. Right? Everybody is different. So everybody gets purified differently. So Prabhupada writes, even to the impersonalist, it is only Krishna who can award liberation. I'm repeating, even a person who is an impersonalist, only Krishna can award liberation. So even the impersonalists who are meditating on the Brahma Jyoti or the light, they are dependent on Krishna. Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal of the different varieties of worship of different demigods. So that's okay if somebody is worshipping Devatas, but ultimately they have to come to the path of worshipping Krishna. So Prabhupada writes, this intuition of the living being is sometimes manifested even during the conditioned state, that one should feel happy only by experiencing the happiness of the Supreme Lord. Only by giving happiness to Krishna, we can feel happy, Prabhupada is saying. But this is also indirectly there in today's society, but not directly. Like for example, they don't want to enjoy themselves, but they want to, they express their gratitude in the form of altruism, philanthropy, socialism, communism, thinking that by expanding their happiness to others, they are feeling satisfied. But Prabhupada is saying this is a very perverted reflection of giving happiness to Krishna. We are not directly giving happiness to Krishna. Only by directly giving happiness to Krishna, we will actually feel satisfied, not by indirect means. And Prabhupada gives example. This is an amazing statement. Many times Prabhupada reveals his heart. Such superb feelings were exhibited by the damsels of Rajabhumi for the happiness of Krishna. The gopis love the Lord without any return, and this is the perfect exhibition of the akama spirit. What did Prabhupada says as akama? Akama means desireless. So the Prabhupada says the gopis of Vrindavan exhibited this highest spirit of akama or desireless. They did everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. Right? A pure devotee does not want liberation so that he may be relieved from the miseries of life. Even without so-called liberation, a pure devotee is aspirant for the satisfaction of Krishna. Right? Mahaprabhu came to teach this mood of bhakti. We don't want anything. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagatisha kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhakti rahituki. I only want ahituki bhakti to you, Krishna. I don't want anything else. Mahaprabhu came to bring the spirit to all the practitioners of bhakti. And then in text 11 and 12, now it is mentioned, the link from 10 to 11, 12 is, okay, there are Devata worshippers, and Sukadeva Goswami is saying it doesn't matter, you still come to Krishna, even if you have desires. But will these Devata worshippers naturally come towards Tivara Bhakti? Like, for example, somebody is worshipping all these different Devatas. Will they naturally come towards worshipping Krishna? Is it a natural transition? May not be one lifetime. Is it after many lifetimes? Will they naturally come to Krishna? The answer is no. Surprising, right? And we will see why that is. And we all can see ourselves in this. And in 11 is the purport for us to study today. All different kinds of worshippers of multi-demigods can attain highest perfectional benediction, which is spontaneous attraction, unflinchingly fixed upon Krishna, only by the association of a pure devotee of Krishna. Right? His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he wrote an amazing bhajan in Bengali. Yadi Prabhupada na hoito. Without Prabhupada, what is our life? If Prabhupada didn't come to this world, what is our situation today? If a pure devotee didn't come in our lives, we are nowhere. Right? All of us can tell this with hands in our heart. So this is what Bhagavatam is saying. The living entity in his pure state, Prabhupada writes in the purport, is conscious of the fact that he is part and parcel of Krishna. But when he is thrown into material world on account of his desire to lord it over material energy, he becomes conditioned by the three modes of material nature. This struggle for existence is something like will of the wisp. We can be struggling to get over all the problems in our life. But it is will of the wisp under the spell of material energy. All plans of material enjoyment, either by worshipping devatas, as described in previous verses, Prabhupada writes, are illusory only. For despite all such plans for happiness, the conditioned living being within the compass of material creation can never solve the problems of birth, death, old age, and disease. The history of the universe is full of such plan makers, and many kings and emperors come and go, leaving a plan-making story only. This is a fact. Right? So many big kings, big emperors have been there in the history trying to solve all the problems. Right? All our preachers within ISKCON, they quote so many emperors were there in the past. Hitler, right? So many things he did. He thought only Germans were the highest race and everyone else were bogus. So he started killing everyone else. By the way, he was a vegetarian. Can you believe it? It is mentioned that the secretary of Hitler was also vegetarian, and he was asked that you are a vegetarian. Why you are killing all these people? And he said that sometimes few things have to be done when time comes. Some vague answer without really understanding the true principle of dharma, according to our own conceptions, according to feeding our own false ego, we may be vegetarians, but still doesn't solve the problem of our life, because we are busy making our own plans. It can be any plan, not just family life plan. Even the great emperors have been making plans, but not solving any problems. It's only creating more problems. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, unless the gross materialists or the worshippers of the temporary demigods come in contact with the transcendentalist, like the pure devotee of Krishna, their attempts are simply waste of energy. Only by the grace of divine personalities, the pure devotees of Krishna, can one achieve pure devotion, which is the highest perfection of human life. Is Prabhupada cooking here? No. This is direct verdict of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Even in the 11th canto, it is mentioned the pure devotees or the sadhus are much superior than the devatas. In the conversation between Uddhav and Sri Krishna, right? Only a pure devotee of Krishna can show one right way of progressive life. Otherwise, both the materialistic way of life without any information of God or the demigods, and the life engaged in the worship of demigods in pursuit of temporary material enjoyments are different phases of phantasmagoria. It is simply illusion. Bhagavad Gita can be understood in the association of pure devotees only. Even though all these things are explained in Bhagavad Gita, we cannot understand them. Only by the mercy of a pure devotee, we can understand them. And not by interpretations of politicians or dry philosophical speculators. There have been so many editions of the Gita. Unless and until a pure devotee like Prabhupada came and actually translated the Bhagavad Gita in its true spirit, no hearts were transformed, isn't it? And in the last verse, how can one who always worships some devata develop devotion to Krishna in the end? So the answer is, even Jnanis take to bhakti. We saw, right, in the first canto. Even Jnanis can take to bhakti. Why not devatas, devata worshippers, right? If they take up to the association of pure devotee, it is possible. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, the complete functional activities of a pure devotee are always engaged in the service of Krishna. And thus the pure devotees exchange feelings of ecstasy between themselves and relish transcendental bliss. This bliss is experienced even at the stage of practice. Even at sadhana stage, one can experience some bliss. Prabhupada is writing, if properly undertaken under the guidance of a guru. If we practice bhakti under the guidance of a guru, definitely the taste of bhakti is experienced by the practitioner. Prabhupada is guaranteeing that. But then later at a mature stage, the developed transcendental feeling culminates in realization of particular relationship with Krishna. And then Prabhupada writes, Krishna is called Kaivalya. And one who approaches Krishna is called Kaivalya Pantha. This Kaivalya Pantha begins how to approach Krishna, how the Devata worshippers who are little bit getting association of pure devotee, what kind of association we need to get with the pure devotee? Prabhupada is saying, begins from hearing. Hearing what? Hearing those topics that relate to Krishna. And what is the natural consequence of this hearing? Such Harikatha is attainment of transcendental knowledge, which causes detachment from mundane topics for which the devotee has no taste at all. Right? We will see Sukadeva Goswami or Srila Sutta Goswami mentioned that mundane talking and all in this chapter later. But how to get rid of that? Prabhupada is giving the beginning process is hearing about Krishna. A natural effect is we lose taste of all the mundane talks. There are different modes of material nature, and all mundane functions in which a common man is very much interested or in which he takes part becomes unattractive for the devotee. Right? All the mundane talks and mundane things that are going around, devotee becomes tasteless after a point. This is a natural effect of practicing bhakti under the guidance of a pure devotee. And when we hear Harikatha from such people, this is a natural effect of saying. The first class devotee of the Lord attains this stage by devotional service, but despite his loftiness for the Lord's satisfaction, he may play the voluntary part of the preacher. Now Prabhupada comes to another dimension. Even though he may not be interested in having mundane talks, Prabhupada is saying a pure devotee of Krishna still goes out of his way to preach the glory of Krishna and dovetail all into devotional service, even mundane interest, just to give the neophytes a chance to transform mundane interest into transcendental goods. This is amazing. Prabhupada is saying here that a pure devotee of Krishna has no business to go and talk to mundane people. But they are just out of their costless mercy, they are going out just to deliver us and transform us and give the same bliss to us. This is the role of a pure devotee. Otherwise, they don't have any reason to go and talk mundane things to people. So that they can transform the mundane things also can be utilized in the service of Krishna. We saw Srila Prabhupada do this, right? When he came to the West, anything and everything that came on his way, he used it in the service of Krishna. Everything. He was not like, oh, I don't want any money. Of course, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. But he used everything in the service of Krishna. You give me $1 billion, I will use everything for Krishna. His famous pastime in Udupi, once the Udupi head of Udupi temple, Krishna temple, was asked, why are you making such valuable jewelry for Krishna here? You're spending crores and crores of rupees for making a crown, a diamond crown for Krishna. You can use that money to feed poor people. Right? And the head of the Udupi temple, he mentioned that, of course, yes, doing something good for the poor people is not bad, but then we are just feeding the body of that person. How much money do we think that all the politicians in today's world spend when they go from one place to another? Compared to that, this is insignificant, he said. And Krishna is Jagat Guru. To give some small crown which is made of diamond is very insignificant, he mentioned. This is how a pure devotee of Krishna sees anything and everything can be utilized in the service of Krishna. Even mundane activities dovetailed with service to Krishna are calculated to be transcendental, Prabhupada writes in the Part1. So this is the activity of a pure devotee. He comes down from the platform of pure devotional service just to elevate neophyte like myself, so that we can use anything and everything, everybody in our lives in the service of Krishna. We stop here. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Offering my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnava vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.